Hi there, third period. Okay, so today we are going to talk about factors. And we're going to be looking at factors of whole numbers. So in your notebook, in your math journal, what you're going to want to do is you're going to first want to write a title, Factors of Whole Numbers. And then put the date. So today is the 15th, so you're going to put September 15th of 2020. And then first we're going to start our lesson out with some vocabulary. So in our vocabulary, we're going to talk about two different words. We're going to talk about a word factor and a word factor pair. And then we're going to do some work with those things. So first, let's talk about a factor. So the first word that we're going to look at is the word factor. Now, I like to use lots of colors in my notes. When I take notes, it helps me to be able to see things. If you don't have colors, you don't have to use colors. If you just prefer just to write straight, just write straight ahead. Totally fine. They're your notes. You do whatever you want for your notes. Now, the thing is that whatever you put in your notes, whatever you add to them, whatever you put in them from this recording, you are allowed to use on your tests or quizzes. So anything that's in your math journal, you are allowed to use. All right, so the first thing that we want to talk about is the word factor. So a factor is any number that you can multiply together with another number to get a product. So it's the numbers that we multiply to get a product. So I'm just going to write that down. The numbers we multiply together to get, that should be two words. Oops. To get a product. All right, what do we know about the word product? What is a product, though? Well, a product is the answer to a multiplication problem. So the product, we want to make sure that we know that this word here is the answer to a multiplication problem. All right, so example. Let's do an example of some factors. So if I did 4 times 5, this is a factor, and that is a factor. My product then, this equals 20. That is my product. So we have the product. That's what we get when we make something, right? A product is when we make something, you get an outcome. So think about you're using these two items to make a multiplication problem, the product. So here we have factor 1, and we have factor number 2. All right, so two factors in this problem. Now, factor pairs is going to be our next word. Factor pairs. Before we move on to factor pairs, I want to talk a little bit more about this. We know that there are multiple ways to arrive at 20, right? So we can arrive at 20 by doing 2 times 10. We could arrive at 20 by doing 1 times 20. We could arrive at it by going 4 times 5. Those are the factors. Okay, now the factor pairs are the two factors that make up the product. So it's just the pair of numbers that have to go together in order to get the outcome. Okay, so it's the two numbers that have to go together to get the product or the answer. So a pair, like think of like a pair of socks or a pair of shoes, they come in twos, right? So pair meaning two of something. So a factor pair is just that. It is two numbers that have to go together. They're like partners. So two numbers that make up the answer to a multiplication problem. This up here, if I threw a 1 in front of here and I did 1 times 4 times 5, those are still factors. This one just happens to have 3 factors at that point because of the 1. Down here, a factor pair. So if I wanted to up above, I could even up above, I can add to my notes, and I'm going to do that. If I wanted to go like this, times 1, I just multiplied on another factor. It didn't change the outcome or the product, but now I have 3 factors that I'm multiplying together in order to get to the product. Doesn't matter how many as long as it equals the total. So we'll call this guy factor 3. All right, so down below factor pairs, let's think about 20 again. Okay, so let's think about 20 again. And let's say that we want our product to be 20. Let's talk about the pairs that go together in order to make 20. Okay, we know 4 times 5. That's one pair. Another pair that goes together would be 1 times 10. Another pair that goes together would be what? Oh, I messed up? Oh, good, you caught me. 1 times 20. Good. Okay, now what's the next one? Oh, 2 times 10. Okay. Well, let's see how we can figure this out by drawing rectangles. Okay, let's draw some rectangles and see if we can figure this out easier. Because some people are need visual aids to help them and like to see things in action. I know I do. So let's see what that looks like when we draw it. Okay, so we're going to keep using our product of 20, but we're going to look at a visual aid. Okay, so let's do this. Our first one we're going to use is 4 by 5. So if I had a piece of grid paper here, I would draw a 4 by 5 grid. So I would have 1, 2, 3, 4 squares, and I would make that go by 5, right? So there's 4. There we go. So I have a 4 by 5. So 4 units by 5 units gives me 20 units. So I can count and color all these in, and it equals 20. Okay, let's do another one. 1 by 20. Oh my goodness. 1 by 20, that's huge. Okay, so 1 by 20. Again, these would be even in the real world if I was using graph paper, which I gave you graph paper to practice on some grids in your practice work. But I would have 20 squares. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, so there are my 20 squares. Again, I have a 1 by 20. 1 by 20. Okay, and the last one that we need to do is a 2 by 10. So drawing a model of this in a 2 by 10. So we need a 2 by 10 model. All right, let's go to, I'm going to use my notebook lines here. And then I will try to make my boxes a little bit better this time. 2 by 10. All right, we'll cut this in half. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, so I have 10 boxes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So there's 10 on the bottom, and on the side I have 1, 2. So I have a 2 by 10, and that gives me 20. So I have an area there of 20. So when you're doing factor pairs, it's the two numbers that make up the product or the total. When it's just factors, it doesn't matter how many there are. We're used to seeing only 2, but it doesn't matter how many there are for the product. Okay, and the last thing that we want to talk about is a try it for you. I would like for you to please do a try it. So try its are problems that you would do on your own to check your understanding using your notes up above of the information that we just went over. So first we're going to start with factors of 1. I want you to go ahead and try that one. Let's do factors of 1. Tell me, what are the factors of 1? So, question number 1 is, what are the factors of 1? So if I'm looking for the factors of 1, what would I have to put together in order to get to 1? Okay, let's see here. You could also tell me, I want to know the factor pairs of 8. So question number 2, I'm going to scoot this like this and move that like that. There we go. All right. Question number 2, I want you to answer, what are the factor pairs of 8? So factor pairs of 8. And then just to give you one that is a little bit more challenging, I want to know, what are the factors of 15? So factors of 15. So I want the pairs that go to make 8, and here I want all the factors that make 15. Okay, so right now you're probably going to want to pause the video so that way you can work through these problems. Otherwise, you're going to hear the answer before you had a chance to try them on your own. Okay, so the factors of 1 are 1. There is only one factor that makes up 1. It's weird. It is a weird number, and it is 1. 1 is the only one that can make 1. 1 times 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 1. You could go on forever, and it's always just going to give you 1. Okay, factor pairs of 8. Okay, let's think about this number 8. Okay, the number 8, 8 is equal to 1 times 8. I can get 8 by doing 2 times 4. And I think that is all of them. So that's all you can do. So the factor pairs are 1 and 8, and 2 and 4. Now, because the multiplication is commutative, you don't need to worry about flipping those around. They mean the exact same thing. Okay, and last, we have the factors of 15. So the factors of 15. So when we do this one, we might need to look at the factor pairs. We might need to make models, however you need it in order to solve it so that you could get the factors. How do I get from 1 to 15, and what numbers in between make 15? So I'm going to go through and I'm going to think about 15. I know when I start with 1, 1 times 15 gives me 15. 2, nope. 2 times nothing will give me 15. 3, yes. 3 times what? 5, good. All right, 3 times 5 gives me 15. What about 4? Does 4 work? No. Okay, we did 5 already. What about 6? Well, 6 times 2 is 12, and then 6 times 3 is 18. So that jumps right over, so that doesn't work. 7? Nope, 14, right? That gets us to 14 if we do times 2. 8? Nope. 8 jumps right over at 16. 9? Nope. 10? Nope. 11? Nope. See, we're going too far, right? So the factors then that make up 15 are 1, 3, 5, and 15. Those are the factors that make up 15. All I did there to list them out was I just took my pairs and put them in order from least to greatest. Okay, that is all about factors. So now I want you to tell me how are you feeling about factors? On a scale of 1 to 3 at the top of your paper, or if you have room at the bottom, I want you to tell me how you are feeling about factors. I'm going to put my little note out here to the side in a box. I'm going to put my number out there in a box, and I want you to tell me how are you feeling about factors. I don't know why my pen is not working right here. 1, I have no idea what Miss Englander just did. I need to go back and rewatch this video so I can see what factors are and what factor pairs are. 2, if you give yourself a 2, you kind of get it, but you need some more practice with it. 3, you could tell me what factors are and what factor pairs are, and you know how to list them in order from least to greatest. And you could, if I asked you to, explain it to somebody else in our class so that they could also know what factor pairs are. So give yourself a rating out here, and then go ahead and look at what the next page is on the next slide so that you can see what your practice work is for today. If you have any questions, please make sure that you ask so that we can add more to your notes so that you aren't lost for Friday. Okay, have an awesome day. I'll see you later. Thanks for listening. Make it a great day the Cougar way.